I do want to switch gears, guys, because we got some very unexpected news this morning coming out of Brooklyn. LaMarcus Aldridge announcing that he is, in fact, stepping away from the game due to health conditions. He said, quote, "My last game I played dealing with an irregular heartbeat. Later on that night, my rhythm got even worse, which really worried me even more. The next morning, I told the team what was going on. They were great getting me to the hospital, getting me checked out. Though I'm better now, what I felt with my heart that night was still one of the scariest things I have experienced. With that being said, I've made the difficult decision to retire from the NBA. For 15 years, I put basketball first, and now it is time to put my health and my family first." So first of all, we wish him and his family the best. This is obviously the right decision. No basketball game is more important than being there for the rest of his life for his family. But Vince, I mean, when you heard this news, what were your first thoughts, and what will you remember about playing against LaMarcus?
Well, let me say my first thoughts took me back to, doesn't matter when, my junior year in high school, somewhere in the 90s. I was dealing with an irregular heartbeat situation where I had the scary walk from my high school where the hospital was across the street. Oof. And I had to go through the EKG test just to make sure everything was fine. And, the thought of that doctor saying, hey, you might not be able to play this season. As a young kid, basketball is everything. You're having the goal to go to, you want to go to college and you want to play in the NBA. Yeah. So scary. As soon as I heard that, it was just a scary moment. But hats off to LaMarcus for making that tough decision, because there's a lot of guys who would make the decision saying, I feel better now, I'm going to keep going. And for him, he said, my family and my health is more important than the game of basketball that I've given everything to. And he should be saluted for that. But him as a player, his body of work in Portland and his body of work in San Antonio should never be questioned. And I've had the luxury, I guess, the pleasure of guarding him,
right, there you
taking
go.
Some elbows from him. Yeah, because when you talk about a player on the left side of that block, you're watching tape of just that alone. I mean, you see here, like, I'm going to take away his left shoulder, and he has the ability to go to the right shoulder. And by the way, that was a charge right there, that elbow, and it hurt me for a couple of weeks. But I tell you, I'm going to tell you that. But let me tell you, I mean, he's just a great player. And, when you study film on a player, you watch them, what they do around the court, and it's like, that's fine, but LaMarcus Aldridge on the left side of the court in the post was one of the toughest things, and you had to prepare for that you couldn't prepare for at the same time.
Look, 7 All-Star teams, making 7 All-Star teams in the West is no joke. 20,000 points. We're rounding up to 20,000 points. He's 49 short. We're rounding up 20,000 points. And that jumper, that high release point, that was a jump shot where defenses had to scrap whatever their usual game plan was to account for that jump shot. You could not let LaMarcus Aldridge shoot pick and pop twos, even if they were just twos, because he would pick and pop you to death. And on that left block, forget it. That was his office. He was taking you down to his office hours. And in Portland, Greg Oden, Brandon Roy, LaMarcus Aldridge, the first 2 awful career-ending injuries. LaMarcus Aldridge was the bridge to Damian Lillard. And never forget, 2014 playoffs, first round, completely destroyed the Houston Rockets from the left block. 2014-15, before Wes Matthews tore his Achilles, that Blazers team with Dame, LA, Batum, Wes, and on, that was shaping up to be a potentially really interesting team, a possible contender, and was just a joyous team to watch. And LaMarcus was the bridge from one era to another. Then he goes to San Antonio, and who knows what happens if not for that Golden State dynasty rising up. The Spurs were set to be their biggest challenger. Then the Kawhi and KD situations happened. Just a great, great career. My first reaction today was shock, like, what? That's happening? And then, we take these guys for granted and we pick apart their games and this and that. LaMarcus has gotten older over the years. I'm going to miss that turnaround from the left block that nobody could touch.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've seen players with problems like this before. It can lead to something very serious if you push it. So, again, congratulations to LaMarcus on an incredible career, made his stamp in the league, and we will miss you. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.